Today we are going to make a Mancala board. I am Miss Blair here with Grand Prairie Public Libraries, and I am so excited for today. So excited. I have good books to share with you. I have one of my favorite games that I've ever played that I get to share with you today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk about those books as people come in. I read 20 books this weekend, and these are my top 3 picks out of 20 books. These are my 3. And the first one is Killer Style, and it's how fashion has injured, maimed, and murdered throughout history. So this is a nonfiction book about combs that would explode in your hair and dresses that were made of arsenic and they would kill you if you wore them. It was so cool, and the pictures were fantastic. So make sure you check out Killer Style. The next one is Modern Art Explorer by Alice Harmon. And this is about, there's, about 30 to 40 different artists in here, and they're all modern artists, and I learned so much about different types of art as far as like whether they were using crafts or just typical paint, but everything was so cool. I started looking up artists like on my phone as I was reading about them because I wanted to know more. Very cool. We might not be traveling to Paris or New York or even going to our own museums this winter break, but if you want to check out some really cool art, I suggest Modern Art Explorer. And the last one I'm going to tell you about really quick is Teeny Monsters. This one really made me like go, ugh. So, bugs are cool, mites are cool, worms are cool, I'm trying to be cool with it, but when you tell me that some of them live in my eyelashes, it was so creepy. But this one is really neat because it shows whatever the bug is really large, and then in the corner it'll show the actual size. So I think that's really, really fun and in-depth look. That's Teeny Monsters. If you want to be totally creeped out, but in a really cool way, learning more, I highly suggest you check this one out as well. Okay, so now that we've got some people in here, we're going to make our Mancala board. So first off, let's go over our vocabulary for the day. These are all game, here, let me get closer because I know y'all can't see. All right, these are all of my game vocabulary words. So the first one is objective. An objective is a goal of action as in a game. My objective is to win. I'm very competitive. Strategy, a careful plan or method, so how you're gonna win or how you're gonna get your objective. And then tactic is a carefully planned action or strategy to achieve something, okay? So you've got your tactics for your strategies to reach your objective, which is winning, right? Okay, so let's get started. Mancala is an ancient game. Like, we're talking ancient, very old, but the rules are so simple. It's so cool, so much fun. Historians don't exactly agree where or when Mancala started, but some think that it originated in Egypt. Others think that it originated in Sumer, the oldest known civilization, which is now Iran. So, what they do agree on is how it's played. It is played, this is my game from way back in 4th grade because I liked it so much. So you have 2 rows of 6 pits. I learned that these were called pits and that these were like the home. Okay, so that's how I'm gonna say it. They have a different term as well. They can also be known as pits with home pits. Oh, they can also be called holes. So these can be called holes, but I'm gonna call them pits. So each pit, if you can see, has 4 jewels. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're gonna craft our own, and then I'm gonna go through how you play the game, okay? So it's a 2-person game. Let's go ahead and grab our supplies so we can make our own Mancala board. So all you're gonna need today, egg carton for a dozen eggs, right? Because we have the 2 rows of 6. You're going to need 48, did I do my math really fast in my head? Yes, I did. 48 beans, marbles, if you've got little jewels, you can use those. And it just has to be small enough to fit inside the little egg carton holes in your egg carton. So you're gonna need 48 of those, and they can be any color. Mine from my board are all different colors, rainbow colors. So you don't have to have like red and blue to know who has what, right? So it can just be any color. All right, and you're gonna need a pair of scissors. All right, super easy. And if you wanna decorate, you can paint your egg carton, you can color it with Sharpie. Just be really careful because Sharpie is permanent, right? But for today's purposes, I just need scissors, egg carton, and I have 48 beans because that's what the library had. Okay, so I am going to open up my egg carton, and I'm going to cut it in half, leaving my 12 pits, right? And taking off the top part. We're gonna turn this top part into our home, right? So these are gonna be our pits, and this is going to be our home. So I'm going to take my scissors and very carefully cut my egg carton in half. Okay, so now I have the top and the bottom, right? To make my bottom look a little prettier, I'm gonna cut off this little flap on this side, just so it's a little easier to see my beans. Remember, Miss Blair's strategy is to win. That's my objective, my strategy, and my tactics. So I want to be able to see my playing pieces. All right. Okay. I cut that off. Yay! All right. So now your job is to cut your top piece in half, because one side is going to be your home on the right, and one side is going to be your home on the left, on the other side. All right. So I'm going to cut the top of my egg carton in half, and the styrofoam likes to be funky. There we go. Yay! Groovy. So now I should technically have 3 pieces. I have one home, another home, and then my 12 pits. Okay? So from here, when I set it up, I've got this little groove, bump if you will. I'm going to put my bump 2 in. All right, so I've got 1 and then 2. Okay, and it's gonna hang out right like that. I'm going to do the same with my other side. So I've got 1, 2. And Miss Blair didn't bring tape or glue or anything like that. This would be fine. This is not like a crazy game. Your game board's not gonna move. But if you want it to last a little longer, you can glue it. I think it would be nice to be able to close it again at some point. So I'm not going to glue mine. I want mine to be able to, I can keep my beans and everything inside of here, put it in the closet where it's nice and stored. Okay, but if you wish to glue it, awesome. Go for it. So here is my game board. So now I have my beans. Woohoo! So remember, it doesn't have to be 2 different colors. That's just what we had in order for me to get up to 48. So I'm gonna put 4 beans in each hole, okay? I'm gonna go on this side of my table. We're gonna do 4. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna get very good at your multiples of 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lo and behold, I did exactly 48. Good job, me. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, so I've got 4 in each hole, and then I have my 2 homes. Okay, so the objective of the game is to have the most beans, jewels, marbles, whatever you're using as your game pieces in your home. Your home is always the one on the right. So this is Miss Blair's right. This would be my opponent's home because it would be on their right. Okay, so you only want to drop beans, marbles, your game pieces into your home, right? So as I show gameplay, notice that I'm not going to drop into this left one because that's my opponent's home base, right? So the objective is to have, the objective to win is to have the most Mancala beads in your home. And gameplay goes until all of the beans are gone from the game board, right? All of the beans have to be in one of the home bases, okay? Because my homes aren't connected, I'm gonna use my game board and it's a little brighter, so I'm gonna show you how to play. All right? So, we've got our game board. Now, I am player A. I can only choose from my side of the board. I cannot reach around and take from my teammate's side. Does that make sense? So I cannot choose my first move to be from the opposite side. No, no, no. So I could only choose from my side. So I'm going to pick up these four. You drop one jewel, bead, bean in a hole. So one would go here, 2, 3. Remember, I want to put it in my home. And then 4, I land in my neighbor's hole. That is when I get to pick it up. If you put a bean where other beans exist, you get to pick it up. Okay, so now I have 5 in my hand. I keep going in a counterclockwise direction. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's beans in there. So I get to pick it up. Remember, don't drop one in here. That's not mine, that's not my home. So I come straight across and I'm gonna drop in 1, 2, 3, 4. I get to pick it back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I keep going and I pick it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now there's 2, you see? I pick it up. 1, 2. I go around. So do you kind of get how the gameplay goes? Goodness, Miss Blair is just gonna keep going because it stops when you land in a hole that has nothing in it. So you keep going until one of your marbles lands in an empty hole. Goodness, this was a really good first beginning move. And we keep going. And if I don't run into a hole, I'm gonna just pretend like I did. Okay, here we go, here we go. So my last one is going in this empty hole. That's my turn. That was a pretty good turn. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jewels in my home base. So now it would be my partner's turn. So there's a good setup here. I don't know if you can see. So they have 3, nothing, 2, and then they're home. So I want to tell you about another special rule. If you land in your home, you get to go again. It's like getting a free turn. So if my partner were to go, this would be their smart move because they would go 1, 2, 3. It lands in their home. They get to go again. I was trying to think of another way to show you, but here we go. So I'm going to pick up 1. It goes into my 3, and then I start my gameplay over. Okay? And it's just dropping in 1 in every hole until you get to a spot. Oh, nice. They landed in their home again. So I landed in home again. Okay, and then I just keep going. All right, and you go until all of your jewels, your beads, are in the home. So if it comes out to the end of the game and all of the beads, because this will happen. Oop, I dropped one. It might come to a point where your game board looks like this and there's just 2 on your player side and you've got nothing. They just get to keep going. So they've got 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. So they just get to keep playing. If you don't have anything, that doesn't mean the game is over. That means your partner has to just keep going until all of the game pieces are in a home. Okay? Yeah? So remember, setup is 4 jewels or beans or whatever in each. You can only pick up, when you start your turn, you can only pick up from your side. Okay, you cannot reach across the board and pick up from their side. You only drop it in your home. You don't want to be giving the other team your points, right? So you only drop it in your home, and then you go until you drop a bean in an empty slot. If I land in my home and that's the end of my turn, I get another turn. All right, so I go 1, 2, 3, I get another turn, 1. Okay, so those are the ways to play the game. Those are the rules. But there's so many strategies you can do. That might seem like a very simple game if I'm just explaining it. You're like, oh, yeah. Let me tell you what. We used to have Mancala tournaments when we would have indoor recess. That is how much strategy and thought we put into it. Because when you're playing with someone else, you have to think, oh, they can go for another turn, so if I want to mess them up, if I get all the way around the board, all of a sudden, in that spot, they don't have the correct number to get that extra turn. So there's lots of strategy to this game. And I would be interested, after you play it, in the comments below. I figured out the best starting move. Okay, that's probably subjective, but I get like half the beads in my Mancala board on the first move. And I want to see if you can figure out how to get, it's just about half. It always used to make my mom very angry, and she made me promise after I learned this that I wasn't allowed to use this trick anymore. But if you can figure out how, you basically win the game. All right? Because no matter what, the other player can't get all that half into their Mancala hole or their home, right? So I'm really interested to see how many of you figure that out. It took me a while. I was playing around with it for a long time. Love this game, obviously. All right, we have our think about it today. So this is an interesting thing about it. I've actually never done this. I've just worked on different strategies. Woo-hoo. So this is another one that I would be interested in the comments below if you guys figure out how this affects the gameplay. I'm actually really interested. At the beginning of the game, put more beans or seeds into the pit. So make sure it's even, right? So what would the gameplay be like if you had 5 beans in each hole instead of 4? What about 7? What about, I don't know, 6? Go crazy. And how does it affect your strategy? Because I know my strategies for 4 because that's how I've always played. So I'm interested in how, if you add more game pieces to your board, how it affects your strategy, your gameplay, and how it affects the game. I'm really interested. So in the comments, I want to hear which hole that you pick it out of first, which pit you pick it out of first to get the most Mancala beads in your home. Okay, because it's a really awesome trick. And I also want to know how that affects if you add more beans to your board. So lastly, I'm going to bring these books back up because I realized I was kind of far away the first time. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, doing Maker Mondays. I've had so much fun hanging out and being here and doing science and art and math and all kinds of things with you guys. It's been a blast. So don't forget, we want to check out Teeny Monsters. It'll creep you out, but in a good way. Modern Art Explorer and Killer Style. Those are my 3 brand new kids nonfiction recommendations. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and we will be having lots more programs in the spring, so be sure to check out our Facebook and our website to find out all of those. Thanks guys, and have a great day.